You're watching NDTV Hindu.
Hello and welcome to Business Line with me, Pranav Bakshi. We begin our weekly roundup of business stories with a look at country's exports. For the first time in the year, India's exports rose by 14.6% in the second quarter compared to the previous quarter. This could be a sign that the downward slide in exports has been arrested, and we may be looking at a recovery. Devdatta Das has more on this story.
The export slump finally seems to be getting over, with the July to September 2009 data showing a positive growth for the first time in over a year. Exports saw a positive growth of 14.6% in the July to September 2009 quarter, and this against a decline of 4.1% in the April to June 2009 quarter, despite the year-on-year figures for the month of September 2009 showing a decline of 13.8% in the negative, with exports for the month at $13.6 billion. And this catapulted by sectors like gems and jewelry, petroleum products, ready-made garments, chemicals, drugs and pharma, showing V-shaped recoveries since sliding to the lowest in the October-December 2008 quarter, well backed up by the two stimulus packages. That said, a complete turnaround in the export scenario is still some time away, despite the fact that exporters have managed to gain access into the emerging and newer markets like Latin America and Africa, only because the traditional and the largest markets like the European Union and the US are still far from recovery. In New Delhi, Devdatta Das, NDTV Profit.
Reliance Industries is disappointed after its profits in the second quarter results reported lower than their estimates. We take a look at what hampered the growth that the analysts were betting on.
This was the earnings report that Dalal Street was waiting for. Reliance Industries, India's top private conglomerate, today announced second quarter results, which failed to offer any positive surprises for analysts and investors. This was the first time that RIL included earnings from the erstwhile Reliance Petroleum. The company said its net profit fell by 6.4% to 3,852 crore rupees compared to 4,116 crore last year, as gross refining margins fell by more than half to $6 per barrel. But sales grew nearly 5% to 46,848 crore. The net profit did not include 2,941 crore earned from the sale of treasury stock. Experts say while gas production from the prolific Krishna Godavari basin will drive future growth, the current litigation will most likely continue to impact sentiment for the stock.
Reliance Industries' results were definitely a dampener, especially for retail investors who swear by the company's envious growth records in the past. Now all eyes are on the annual general meeting, which will be held in mid of November, wherein Mukesh Ambani is expected to announce a slew of new projects. In Mumbai, Preena Savla, NDTV Profit.
But closer to home, IOB has several reasons to rejoice. The total business has reported a whopping 17% growth in the first two quarters. The bank also has huge expansion plans this year. They plan to open 56 new branches with 11 in Tamil Nadu.
CMD of IOB, Mr. S.A. Bhatt, is upbeat about the performance of the Indian banking sector. And if IOB's performance highlights are any indication, the scenario does look bright on the home front, despite global uncertainties.
I would say my yearly projections, I'm expecting my business to grow by about 20%, which means 20% increase in the advances, 20% increase in deposits.
IOB has several initiatives on the anvil, but it plans to concentrate more on the retail market only after it achieves its primary objective.
What we are trying to do today is we are trying to first of all acquire the savings accounts, the salary accounts of majority of the customers who are not with us. Once I start getting the salary accounts of the customer, I'd start becoming aggressive in the retail market.
Though the bank's overseas profits have increased in the last year, it has no plans of further overseas expansion. IOB plans to concentrate on the home turf for now. 56 more branches, of which 11 in Tamil Nadu, are in the offing this year. Other focus areas are lendings to direct and indirect agriculture and small and medium enterprises. IOB plans to end the year with advances of 90,000 crore rupees And if the government gives the bank the 1,000 crores it has asked for, achieving the projected 20% growth could be sooner than expected.
The spotlight was on alternative sources of energy at a conference conducted in Chennai recently. The theme was defining India's path to the leadership in renewable energy. NDTV Hindu's Managing Director and CEO Rajiv Lula moderated the session.
The business of renewable energy. That was the core theme behind the Renewable Energy Chennai 2009 conference. Industrialists and government representatives got together to debate and analyze how renewable energy, like solar power and wind, can be made commercially viable using practical technology.
Power here in India, 12% is still a shortage, a big demand. And we have to build 400 megawatts, 400,000 megawatts in the next 10 years. And which is the fastest way of building it is through wind energy. It takes about 3 to 4 months to install a project of wind energy. And then you have the environmental advantages of so many factors where you don't need water to run this plant. You have free wind, and then you have abundance wind that can be tapped.
India is one of the top 10 countries in the world in the renewable energy game, with Tamil Nadu leading the way.
Nearly 80% of the assessed wind potential has already been tapped, and that is a remarkable success. I don't think any other state has so far done this, though Maharashtra, Gujarat and Karnataka have more than double the wind potential of Tamil Nadu.
China is one of the global leaders in the renewable energy space, yet experts believe the returns are higher in India.
Because the returns on wind projects in China are something around maybe 8%, project IRRs of 8%. We look here in India and the return would be more like maybe 12%.
At the end of the day, it was an event that opened up eyes to practical solutions on tapping renewable energy in a better way.
Let's take a quick look at the market updates now.
The RBI, in its monetary policy review this week, revised its inflation targets upwards and left the key bank rate unchanged. However, it pegged up SLR requirements for banks and asked them to set aside higher provisions towards bad debts. It also tightened lending to real estate. This has led to the view that the RBI is preparing a gradual exit from the stimulus. These moves triggered a correction in real estate stocks. After a splendid start, the results season brought disappointments this week. Tata Steel, DLF and Bharti Airtel, which announced results, failed to match expectations. Overall, cement and automobile companies have fared extremely well in the September quarter with strong sales and profit growth. Steel and commodities have disappointed. Banks have reported mixed numbers. Economic news from the US showed its GDP growing 3.5% over the last quarter, better than expectations. Though that briefly lifted global stock markets from a week-long correction, Indian markets failed to follow suit. The week ended with the Sensex ending at 5.44% lower for the week at 15,896. The Nifty too corrected to close at 4,711 points.